to Wide the Truck.
Oh, man. So no more ugly sweater next Friday. The Titans Cinderella season came up, pumpkins.
I can finally wash it at least. You know, it was sad. You know, we were up 17-7. And next thing I know, we didn't possess the ball for like an hour and a half.
And then like a true jerk, I texted you when they were up, and I'm like, hey, the good news is the AFC South has led the Chiefs, what was it, like 31 or something at
right, at the beginning.
In the first quarter, but then they got outscored like 87-10.
Hey, it's not completely all good, but the best team, I think, did win. So
it's going to be a good Super Bowl. 49ers
It's going to be a great Super Bowl. And the 49ers are my historic favorite team. So it's going to be fun to watch them. Right now, betting odds, 1 point favorite to the Chiefs.
Well, why?
It's going to be, really, a pick 'em.
That's close. That means and that's set by the lines, just like how market rates are set, maybe in fuel or rack prices. It's set by where the money's going.
Bringing it all back to the supply chain.
Where the money's going. Speaking of Cinderella, I'm going to Disney World. My mother-in-law, she got, I think there's a tribe of 12 of us going to Disney.
Whoa.
And I haven't been since I was 5, and it's stressful. It's stressful even setting it up. You have the magic bands, you got to get the fast pass on there.
I'm not good for it. My wife has written me off. She says, I'll just take the kids from now on, and you're off the hook.
You've been before?
I can't take those lines, man. One thing that I think we needed to get was a fast pass.
Yeah.
I just couldn't take it.
Supposedly
I tried so hard, too, but it's I think my wife senses that I'm trembling underneath when I'm waiting in those, lines for an hour and a half for a 3-minute ride.
You know what you are going to need a fast pass for? We don't have them. It'll be standing room only, but FreightWaves Live Atlanta, because speaking of sports, right? Speaking of Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, we announced our keynote for FreightWaves Live Atlanta's Erin Andrews.
Erin Andrews. I remember her when she was a 21-year-old beat reporter for the Atlanta Braves.
Wow.
So young. And, boy, she's come a long way.
She has come a long way. You know who else has come a long way? DHL Supply Chain.
Whoa.
This episode is brought to you by DHL Supply Chain, the world's leading logistics company. DHL Supply Chain's team of experts simplify the complex and work with you to find solutions to your biggest transportation challenges. Learn how DHL can help your business tell them, Chad.
At logistics.dhl.com.
Boom. Oh, this is not a good story. Sometimes we lead off with bad ones. And, it is Martin Luther King Day, so celebrating that a little bit.
Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
But it means it's making for a slightly slower news day. But this one is tragic, right? Fatal shooting at family-owned trucking company in San Antonio. A 56-year-old man allegedly shot and killed his 47-year-old brother at a family-owned trucking company in San Antonio before turning the gun on himself, according to police.
Yikes.
Jamie T. Martinez was allegedly fatally shot by Baldemir M. Temez on Tuesday, according to the San Antonio Police Department.
Jennifer Rodriguez, a spokeswoman for the San Antonio Police Department, said police responded to reports of a shooting at around 11:10 a.m. Tuesday, which is not a typical time for such a thing. At JTM Transportation on San Antonio's far east side, officers arrived to find Martinez with multiple gunshot wounds. He was taken to a local hospital where he later died. He was allegedly shot by Temez, and the JTM Transportation website lists Martinez as president of the company.
After the shooting, police say Temez drove away from the scene to the parking lot of a store several miles away. Police said they found Temez inside the vehicle with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. He was pronounced dead right there on the scene.
Some things you just have to shake your head.
Yeah. Could have gone better. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, in other news, a new cap-and-trade carbon emissions bill unveiled in Oregon last week continues to draw criticism from the trucking industry that helped derail similar legislation last year. If you look at the latest version for the upcoming session, it's not much different than last year's House Bill 2020, said Jana Jarvis, head of the Oregon Trucking Associations. Cap-and-trade does nothing to reduce carbon. All it does is increase costs. The new proposal, currently known as Legislative Concept 19, includes many features from last year's version, which failed to pass after a high-profile walkout by Republican senators.
The bill, it's intended to rein in carbon emissions by capping overall emissions allowed in the state, forcing large polluters to either reduce emissions or purchase carbon credits that would offset each ton of gas that they emit. The cap would lower over time, so the state's overall emissions would also decline. To placate industries and rural communities that oppose the original legislation, Concept 19 includes several new provisions easing pollution targets. A concession to the transportation sector, for example, would phase into the emission cap based on geography.
Oregon Governor Kate Brown has said passing the cap and trade legislation is a top priority this year. Setting the stage for another fight, Jarvis, along with many Republican legislators, supports referring the cap and trade bill to voters in the form of a ballot measure. If Oregonians really want this bill, it needs to go to them, she said.
Here's one for you. Don't take mommy's wine away. U.S. wine and spirits importers want tariffs off the table. A dispute over France's digital service tax has the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative considering up to 100% tariff on French champagne and sparkling wine imports. The only thing you'll be able to drink is like that Bud Light seltzer. American wine and spirits importers are shaken by the possibility that they'll have to drink that Bud Light seltzer, that the Trump administration may impose additional tariffs on the European Union. This month, the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative said it will consider increasing an existing 25% U.S. tariff on certain European origin alcohol products to 100%.
Yikes.
The USTR imposed that 25% tariff on wines and spirits from the EU in October 2019 in response to this ongoing U.S.-EU trade dispute in the World Trade Organization over subsidies for Airbus.
Yeah, the latest threat by the U.S. to implement the 100% tariffs on certain alcoholic beverages, specifically French champagne and sparkling wine, follows the Trump administration's opposition to the recent passage of the French Digital Services Tax. The imposition of additional U.S. duties on sparkling wines from France alone would cause significant economic harm to the alcohol industry and may result in more than 17,000 U.S. jobs lost, warned Wine and Spirits Wholesalers of America in a letter to members urging them to ask Congress to oppose the new tariffs. This includes importers, producers, distributors, wholesalers, retailers, as well as related jobs throughout the distribution chain, such as shippers, truckers, warehouse workers, bookkeepers and accountants, sales representatives, customs brokers, managers, hospitality, and more. If you can think of any more, that kind of covers it.
Yeah, I mean, that just tells you how many people in a supply chain get hit by these tariffs, these retaliatory tariffs, and how many, the shrapnel flies a lot further than just mommy's glass of wine on the table, right?
That's right.
I mean, and they are saying that by doing this, if they want to escalate, the EU will escalate as well. They're more than happy to. They're going to raise tariffs on American whiskey, amongst other things.
Yeah. In our final and fourth headline, cocaine valued at $1.5 million seized in a shipment of malanga. Yes, U.S. Customs and Border Protection operations at the FAR International Bridge cargo facility in Texas intercepted $1.53 million worth of cocaine hidden inside a tractor trailer hauling a commercial shipment of fresh malanga. Do you know what malanga is?
Is it taro? Like beef taro?
Yeah, it's like taro.
Is that from like a bone?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'll be honest. CPB officers assigned to the cargo facility at the FAR International Bridge along the U.S.-Mexico border stopped a tractor-trailer hauling the malanga for further inspection on January 12th. Maybe they were curious what it was, too.
Yeah, if you guys know what malanga is, we got you up here on the LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah.
Chad's got the Facebook. Let us know. I'm curious. Utilizing available tools and resources, including non-intrusive imaging technology, CBP officers allegedly discovered 80 packages with almost 200 pounds of cocaine hidden inside the trailer. CBP officers seized the drug along with the tractor trailer. The case remains under investigation by Homeland Security. You know what I was watching there? I woke up at 2:30 in the morning, Saturday morning, and then I couldn't go back to sleep, so I watched End of Watch on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen that one. Interesting movie, though.
Haven't heard of it.
It's like a first-person, it's like, like Blair Witch, that style, like the first-person video style, and it has, what's it called? Jake Gyllenhaal, and Omar Epps. I think it might be his partner.
Okay. And
I recommend it.
Was it? Yeah, you do?
Yeah. We got to call Brandon Freed, don't we?
Let's do it.
All right, we got to talk to him about the Air Cargo Club and see what's going on with that. We'll be down there in, less than a week we drive down.
That's right.
Hi, you've reached the Freed family. Please leave a name.
Well,
number,
okay, standing us up again.
And we'll get right back to you as soon as possible.
All right, well, hey, Brandon, it's Dooner and Chad with What the Truck. Just
How's it going?
Calling you one more time, leaving a message on your voicemail. We are excited for, what the Nashville, the Air Cargo Conference, Nashville.
Yeah, you know who's going to be there? We are going to be there.
We are. Brandon, I guess we'll have to catch up with you there. Take it easy from us and the What the Truck audience.
Yeah.
All right, well.
We're going to be talking with Craig Fuller, CEO. Of course we are. He's going to be a keynote there.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking with Chris McMillan, VP of IT at AIT Worldwide Logistics. Also, Brooke Pierce. He is a manager of Accelerated Couriers.
Ooh.
We're going to talk to him on Monday. All kinds of things are going to be happening. Mark Weiss, is that how you pronounce it?
Oh, they're going to say Wahlberg. I was like, wow, star power. We got Erin Andrews at FreightWaves Live, and then you got...
This guy's the NASA Kennedy Space Center Gateway Logistics Element Manager.
Woo.
I mean, that's something. We're going to be talking with Andrew Ladebichet. Can you say that?
Ladebichet.
Ladebichet. That's right. CEO of Reliance Partners, along with, one of his friends, Ronald Ramsey, the CCO of Reliance. We're going to be talking with Brian Schreiber of Rickenbacker at the Columbus Airport. Amanda Barlow, who you know at Roanoke, on the topic of cyber risks and security insurance.
I think I'm going to see Tom Moran there as well. I'm excited to see all the Roanoke people. If you're not familiar, my dad worked for Roanoke. He's on the board and vice president of Roanoke for a very long time. So I kind of grew up in that cargo insurance environment, and I know those guys from working in my days
as
back up in
everyone
Boston.
is familiar with. Right?
It's a very interesting and exciting world. I wish more people were familiar with, because I remember when I was selling freight, I'd always have to convince shippers that, look, getting the insurance, and it's like 25 cents per $100, but getting it is not. We're not trying to upsell you. We're trying to save your business. If there's a big accident at sea or your freight comes damaged, you don't have the cargo insurance. Good luck getting your money back.
Okay, I take your word for it. Sounds like a talking point. Next week at the Air Cargo Conference, we're going to be talking with all kinds of CEOs. Josh Wolf, CEO of Cargo Ship. Dan Deepow, CEO of Cargo Cast.
Yeah.
Eric Hare, CEO of K9 Global. Speaking of cybersecurity.
K9 Global?
Yeah.
Do they ship dogs?
Dogs do a lot of security work. You know what I'm saying?
Is that what they really do? They ship dogs around?
No, I don't think they ship them.
Oh.
They
an airline for dogs.
Well, we're going to find out when we talk to Eric Hare just how it all works.
So in NASA, right? So we're talking to NASA guys, and there's a documentary on Netflix that they follow this guy who did a year in space, and it's a twin. So the one brother, so they could really study the physicology and chemistry and what really happens. Because I think we all know, bone density. You can have bone density issues. But one of the biggest things he showed was, his feet. So I guess the bottom of your feet gets super smooth, but the top of them get real screwed up because you have to keep hooking your feet under stuff so you don't float away in the International Space Station.
Oh.
So you don't float up to the ceiling. So the astronauts are always hooking their feet under metal bars and stuff. And then it causes these huge calluses on your toes.
Sounds like an opportunity for an invention of some kind.
Like a sneaker, like an upside down sneaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. You listen in Reebok, like a space sneaker.
Kind of grab. Yeah.
The old moon boots.
Good times.
Yeah. Well, too bad we couldn't have Brandon Freed on, but I think we carried that segment just fine. All right. Well, Brandon, we'll catch up with you next time. You know who's I think is up next? It should be Anthony Smith. I hope he's out there.
I hope
he's more timely than I know. What is going on? We used to have such a tight ship around here, and now we got to bring a whip out.
Anthony Smith.
Is he not there either? Jeez.
Paging. Anthony Smith.
Wow, he might be in a meeting. Who knows? I know that he might be upstairs because one of the things we're going to talk to him about was why Fanny Mae would be interested in talking to a freight economist, right?
Yeah.
And apparently he knows some sort of voodoo where housing starts help predict the freight economy, and knowing that sort of real estate can help predict the freight economy.
He's talked about that for a long time. He considers it a kind of a leading economic indicator, as I understand.
Well, what has he told you? Do you know enough to tell us? What has he told you about it?
Well, I mean, one of the connections is, you look at the flatbed. Flatbed only represents about 12% of the over-the-road, trucks.
Yeah.
And there's their specialty, but they you can follow some of their movements to know often how housing is starting. I think we'll save the segment to let him be the specialist that talks about, how they are. But one of the things I remember is that in the winter, because of weather, housing starts often go down. But so it doesn't necessarily mean the economy is struggling or the other parts of the supply chain, but it just literally could be suppressed by weather. You've got to have good weather to be able to build those houses.
Yeah.
Yep. So he will be here. He is. He's also the co-host on Freightonomics.
Yeah, I know. I even loaded up their theme song so like I could introduce him to it and all of that kind of stuff. But I don't know what's with the guys on our other podcast. Great quarter guys. We had Kevin Hill, right? He just was just standing in the hallway yakking away. And now Anthony Smith, I slacked him. He said he's here, but he hasn't shown up yet. So I don't know. But after him, Craig Fuller's going to come on, and Andy's just cannibalizing his own time here. Because when Craig comes on, he's gonna take us to oil school, right? He's going to talk about rack fuel prices.
Right. And he's going to talk about ways to save on fuel. And there is a whole new, pretty exciting data set, I must say.
No, it is. And I think that I went into his like 101 class on all this today. He really explained the difference between the wholesale fuel market and the retail fuel market. Like what us suckers pay when we go and we drive and we fill our car up. You're very interested in looking at the sign, right?
Yeah.
A guy who drives for a big fleet, he doesn't care about what that sign says because every single day there's a fleet manager at a trucking company who goes out and he negotiates like $1 million spend worth of gasoline for these larger fleets every single day. And he goes to like the Pilot Flying J's of the world, the Loves of the world, all the big rest stops.
And like every single day.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's my understanding.
No, every single day. Yeah. This isn't just a one-time thing. So, Anthony.
Hey, Anthony.
What's going on, man?
What's up?
What kept you?
I thought we were 7 minutes later.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So you're on your own time zone, the Smith zone?
No, I got an email invite for 2:27.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Well, sometimes the right hand doesn't know what the left is doing.
Well, it's the economy. Anthony Smith's economy.
We're here.
Yeah. All right, man. So tell us, we want to know why a company like Fanny Mae would be interested in talking to a guy like you.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask them when they get here.
Oh, they haven't come in yet today.
They're not here yet, no.
We were giving you a pass. We thought maybe you were up there with them.
No, they're not here yet today. But
one of the things you can tell is how are housing starts a leading freight indicator?
Well, housing starts, so it's a few implications for housing starts. When you think about housing starts, it's like the thing where, okay, there's the initial activity when a home is being built. We're seeing that those new projects coming online, moving freight activity throughout the country and stuff like that. And so when we're seeing those houses being built, that's like the building products going on flatbed trailers usually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there's that. But the bigger part of the housing industry is existing homes. And so when people are feeling confident to buy a house or really purchase a new home, new to them, existing home, they're usually confident enough to fill it with other stuff like furniture and appliances. So it's a good indicator.
So it's a consumer sentiment.
It is.
And you're big on that.
I am big on consumer. I am.
What else are you big on right now? So in Freightonomics, you guys dove deep into California.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you do more of a like great quarter guys do the micro and you guys do the macro, right? So they usually dive into a company. I know this week they're doing XPO. Last week they looked at Walmart.
Right.
You guys, you'll pick a market or something. So you picked straight out of California. Why California?
I think because of a lot of the potential regulations in California, really kind of looking at do regulations always have the intended effect, and what are some of the implications from those regulations, and how does it spur into other areas? And so Zach really got into a few of the freight regulations that are kind of going on in California right now.
Yeah.
I looked at a few of the housing regulations and what that might mean for activity and what that might mean for freight going into it.
We've heard a lot about the AB5, and that seems to be, I think the effects would have been quite unintended.
Right.
So far that's being delayed. What are some of the housing regulatory things?
So one of the new things that we found was a potential solar roof regulation where all new homes need to have solar roofs put on there.
Wow.
So that might be something that's going to jack up prices for new homes.
Wait, all new homes will have to have a solar, like that's just part of the, like how you have to have like a window to call it a bedroom.
What solar manufacturer got
and a closet, right?
Yeah,
Is that everywhere that you need a window and a closet to call something a bedroom? Is that?
I
don't know.
A window and a closet. Yeah, those are the two.
To qualify as a bedroom.
Right.
Yeah.
Really?
And now a solar panel if you're in California.
You need a solar panel if you're going to build a new house.
So what's up this week on Freightonomics?
So Freightonomics, we are going to talk about some of the freight recession stuff, some of the things that go into a freight recession, some of the things that are on the macro side of a freight recession. So, for instance, Manufacturing is a big part of freight recessions. When we're looking at manufactured goods being transported throughout the country. So that's a big part of it. So we're going to get into that a little bit more. What's a definition of a freight recession? And really kind of honing in on the volume side of it all. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty good episode and kind of one of those ones that's going to be timeless. Like you can always kind of go back to
Evergreen.
Ooh, a little evergreen content.
Evergreen.
Yeah.
We've been having a lot more of that on our website. So freight recession comes up a lot. What's the difference between that and a economic recession?
So in an economic recession, you see that it's really based on the consumer, and so goods and services. But the goods and services don't always apply to the freight market. So when we're looking at things like insurance or any kind of good that is a service that's being purchased that's not going to be implicated in freight, it's going to be more so in a GDP number. That's not going to contribute to volume. And so we can have an economic expansion overall in the U.S. Where we see the GDP go up and kind of modulate around that elevated number, but that's not going to do anything for freight. But when we see downward momentum for industrial production, manufacturing, durable goods, things like that, that's the kind of stuff that's going to kind of impact freight, but not be big enough to really sway the overall economy.
So one of these things is not necessarily like the other, right?
Right.
Well,
Anthony, the show's at 2 p.m., right? 2 p.m.
Yes, Wednesdays.
Wednesday.
Yes.
All right, we got to bump you out. Sorry, I'm sorry for the confusion on
thanks for being on,
look,
man.
I think on Slack I said 2:17, but I did look at the invite. I did put 2:24 sharp too.
Okay.
But Craig
Okay.
Fuller's here. He wants to talk about that big release in Sonar.
Is Craig here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
He is.
We'll
He's
enjoy.
here.
Yeah, we gotta talk about this rack price diesel rates in Sonar and how it's gonna change the game.
Hey.
Earlier today, Mr.
Craig
Fuller had me in his
Fuller.
classroom. Got to be his student on rack rates versus retail. And I actually learned a whole bunch. And it's stuff that I think that if you're not in that side of the world, you probably wouldn't think about it or even know about.
No, I think fuel is, a lot of the larger fleets and actually mid-sized fleets have fuel managers that know the fuel business, but it's typically, it's a job that's been around for many, many years. And so the people who've been doing it for many, many years have done it for many years. And so there's a lot of things that aren't known about fuel. But I spent 9 years, actually 7 years running a fuel card company, so I know a little bit about it.
So are there these fleet managers? Are they having to negotiate with like a Pilot or a Love's on a like literal daily basis as the news comes in, or how does that work?
No, typically the larger fleets have commitments of volume commitments, and they say I'm going to put 10,000 gallons a month into this fleet, into this truck stop, or 100. It depends on how big they are. I mean, some of these companies are putting in, 1 million gallons or 10 million gallons to the Pilot or the TA or et cetera. And they get those discounts based on proportion to how many gallons. And so what typically happens is rather than negotiating on a per gallon basis or on a per transaction basis, they're negotiating basically on a volume commitment basis. And that's what drives their discounts.
Yeah.
And so they are rewarded for buying fuel gallons at a certain truck stop.
Wow. So the new release in Sonar, it came out over the weekend. We talked about it on radio a bit, but to our audience here, what is it? What does it do? How is it going to help the fleet managers of the world?
Yeah, so this is going to be geared towards the mid-size and larger fleets that buy on wholesale.
Okay.
So I want to be very clear. This is not a retail diesel or a retail truck stop pump index. It's not built for the folks that are buying at retail. It's built for the larger fleets, the mid-size. Typically, you think of, 25 trucks and above potentially has a wholesale deal with their buying on rack wholesale. Definitely above 75 trucks. Almost anybody above 75 trucks is going to have a wholesale rack priced deal. And basically what that means is they're buying based on a third party's assessment of the cost at basically the refinery or the distributor of fuel, whatever that price is, that changes daily and sometimes a couple times a day. They basically are buying on that price with either a discount or a premium thereof.
So in the past, we've had these fuel optimization lanes and ways of making things more efficient This takes it to the next, a little bit modifies it, takes it to the next level. Could you explain?
I don't think
how?
a little bit. We're talking about something massive
Okay,
here, Chad. Let's not undersell this.
Well,
Yeah.
I am like
This
trying
is
to get
huge.
my head around it. Like, how much of a leap is it? How does it work?
Well, let's talk about optimization. So optimization, there has been around the years, there have been what they call route line optimizers. And route line optimizers look at the origin destination pair or the location of where you're picking up and where you're delivering, shipper and consignee. And they basically, what the route line optimizer does is it looks at all of the fuel stops along that route and figures out, based on the fleet's own discount structure, as well as what's happening in the market, what the cheapest place to buy fuel is. That's what it does based on a route. So example is if you're going from Atlanta to Dallas and you're driving through Birmingham and you're driving through Jackson, Mississippi and Shreveport, Louisiana, if I give you a route one day, you may stop in Birmingham, Shreveport, etc. for fuel to top off. The next day, it may be completely different because the price, not in Shreveport, but the price in Vicksburg, Mississippi, is the cheapest along that route line. And so it changes based on the day-to-day activity in the market.
Yeah, I wish I had that. So that's the optimizing.
That's the optimizer, and it changes daily. And that's called route line optimization.
Yeah.
Now, what we're doing is different with this timed-based optimization. So what this actually does is it forecasts out what the price of fuel, wholesale rack prices are going to be tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's like saying we know the weather tomorrow and what it's going to look like. Or it's like saying what the wholesale price of something is.
With 90% accuracy?
It's 90% accuracy in terms of guessing or forecasting what the actual price is within the next the next day. So it is 90% accurate on rack. I want to be very clear. This is not the wholesale pump. So if you're paying pump, it's not going to help you that much. If you are paying rack, it's going to help you a tremendous amount.
Yes.
And we are looking at about 3% savings on your fuel because it tells you fuel today or fuel tomorrow. And that's the value, is that, like, if you think about how trucks fuel, a lot of times what they'll do is when they're done with their, they're either going to fuel along a route, so they get fuel when they're on their route, or they fuel when they shut down for the night. They go top up.
Right.
But there's value in maybe delaying that fuel to tomorrow. If you know you're going to save 4 cents a gallon by fueling up in the morning, wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, especially if I'm talking about volume. My margins are already tight. It's one of my largest fixed costs.
Comes directly to your bottom line. So we're not talking about, we're in the market talking about a lot of data, whether it's tender rejection data or, the thing is about all that stuff is really important, but it doesn't hit your, it's not a direct input cost. In other words, it takes a couple of steps to get a direct economic change in your business. But fuel comes directly out of your pocket.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cost you anything. The other thing that I think fuel managers really like about this is it doesn't change how they route their fuel, because a lot of times they'll have these commitments with a specific truck stop, and they say, hey, I got to put 100,000 gallons into this stop. I've committed to pilot 100,000 gallons. They have to keep committing to that, and they have to meet that. The great thing from a fuel manager is they don't like an optimizer or the boss coming in and say, you need to go, I want to give you all your gallons to TA. They're like, who are you to do my job? Why are you taking all these gallon commitments away? You're making my job harder. What's great about this is it doesn't change any of that. It changes the time of which you fuel, which is pretty powerful because it keeps you as the fuel buyer, keeps you in control of the decision. You get to maintain your commitments in terms of gallon commitments. Doesn't change that at all, but it changes when you actually accept it. So I guess I'm trying to think of a really good analogy. I fly a lot. I have to fly a lot from business, and I prefer Delta Airlines as my favorite airline. I've got a lot of points with them, and I go up. But the thing is, if I go on their website, it's more expensive if I go direct. So I go on a kayak to price shop, and I'm always sort of checking to see if that's the cheapest price. And what's interesting is if you move the day that you fly around, I won't fly today or tomorrow, or day one or day two, maybe it's the 20th I'm supposed to fly out versus the 21st. the day actually has a huge impact on the price of the plane. We all know that, right?
Yeah.
Take a later flight, fly on Saturday, it's going to be the cheapest. It's the same idea here is that I'm still flying Delta. It's just that I'm saving a bigger percent by either flying on one day or the other. In this case, it's fuel. So it's either topping off now or tomorrow. What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Like, that's great.
That is great, and I hope the word is going to get out there. I mean,
this is live now. The forecaster
it is in
overnight
Sonar,
ULSD.
So it's free. It's free for 30 days. We're offering it to all Sonar users for the next 30 days. And so take advantage of it, get to play with it, look, and see if there's a way you can make it actionable in your business. It's free. It's free. Yeah. We are literally giving away free money.
No more faster.
No more faster. It's all about it. Know what's happening right now faster than anybody else. This is going to have a huge impact on your fuel spend if you use it, and it's free, so take advantage of it.
Hey, I love this forecasting stuff. You know I do the Sirius XM show. I don't get to use a lot of visuals in my work, especially on radio. I have to do everything with my voice, and you have to do it quickly. You have to do it in segments. And forecasting, talking about a rate forecaster, talking about forecasting rack rates, those are concepts that people can really grasp very quickly when they're passively driving down the wheel and flipping people off.
Let's hope they're not flipping people off. Because truckers don't ever do that, right?
We're going to be talking about road rage later.
It's the car drivers that do that.
That's true.
All the
Four-wheelers.
time. The four-wheelers. But you know, I think as you think about, there's a lot of data out there. Some of it is something you can do long-term to make long-term decisions, and some of it you can do right now. This is a data set that you can do something right now. Doesn't change anything about your business. You're hauling the same freight. You're hiring the same drivers. You're dealing with the same maintenance, the same trucks. All the same things are happening. It just is changing the time at which you fuel.
Yeah.
It's pretty freaking awesome. I'm excited. I'm pumped.
timing is everything.
We're pumped. And we think, again, these are all forecasts, and we'll see how it does in the wild. But we're talking about saving $1,000 per truck per year. That's a lot of money.
Cassandra Gaines says she flips off people too when she's
we know she does, but she has no problem saying what she thinks.
Nope.
Live on the air.
Yeah.
I think what XM radio is
they're not FCC regulated.
Yeah, it's okay.
They're not they can say what they want to say, but
we try to keep it professional.
I think their advertisers may not appreciate some of the more colorful language.
Yeah.
But Cassandra's not the only one that has colorful language. I do as well.
Yeah.
So
we're bringing a new generation.
Nature of the beast.
Yeah. Well, Craig, thank you so much for driving by.
Yeah.
I like your watch too. I like the band. You got a
that's the Baylor Bears.
Sick 'em Bears.
But here's the problem: is my coach Matt Rule is now coaching in the NFL.
The Giants, right?
The Panthers.
He's in the
Panthers.
Carolina.
Are you gonna have to cheer for the Panthers now?
Matt Rule, he did great, rebuilt the program.
Yeah.
But I don't think we ever saw him as a Baylor guy. He was only there for 3 years. I mean, you're a Baylor guy, Jeff.
Yeah, that's right.
So he was there for 3 years. So I don't know that we ever. I mean, maybe you felt differently. I never felt like he was ours.
This year, I got excited about him.
But did you ever feel like he was ours?
This very year, I started to, and then they took him away.
You knew as soon as we can't have nice things.
I know.
But you knew as soon as he was going to start winning, he had. I never felt he was a Baylor guy.
He was a culture guy. He was changing
great.
the culture.
He was genuine. He was great, and he rebuilt the program. But I always felt like, and I don't judge him for this at all or begrudge him at all. I felt like he had bigger aspirations and bigger goals in life. Or other goals, because there is no bigger goal than being the winning coach of the Baylor Bears, but he had other goals, and I thought that's okay. Like, I think he did what the school needed him to do, and we appreciate that. But
we do.
I will certainly cheer for him if they're playing anyone else that I don't care about.
Sure.
And with no Cam Newton now, it might be a little easier to cheer for.
You weren't a scam fan?
No. Matt Rule, though. They only have the number 55th ranked recruiting team. Like their team.
Baylor?
Yeah, is ranked.
They did when he was. Well, it's just because they didn't have a coach.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the Panthers because I'm like, there's only 32 teams. That's really bad.
No, I mean, the Bears have really overachieved.
Oh.
Yeah. So here's the question, though: are you excited about the new LSU guy?
That joined.
Yeah, the defensive coordinator that is now the head coach.
Oh, I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah, he was announced last week. I'm not convinced. I don't know that I love the defensive play. I'm more of an offense guy. I like seeing the ball thrown and the score drawn up.
But people say that the Big 12 needs the defense. So maybe that's the play.
We will see. Yeah. But I don't think people are tuning into What the Truck to hear about Beta football. We can do this
sports
anytime.
after dark.
We have, but the thing is, we have 7 months before the game starts.
That's true.
So we have plenty of time.
Thanks for forecasting you did.
Real quick.
Yes.
I do want to point out that Baylor basketball is the number 2 college basketball team in the country.
Wow.
Number 2, baby.
No, hang on. You're doing the hook 'em horns. You're doing the hook 'em horns there.
Is that? No,
come on, man.
I'm just like number 2, baby.
No, that's the horn. You got to do the bear. Come on, Chad. What are you doing? Get out of here. Throw him off the show. All right. Come on. All right.
Put him in the seat.
It's a different way of showing, too.
What is up next, guys?
Donnie's waiting patiently.
Gilbert, he's waiting patiently, and he's like, I'm tired of hearing about Baylor football. All right, I'll see you guys. Love you.
All right.
Show.
Thanks, Greg. Fantastic, man.
Take it easy. Repping the Moon Pie,
always.
Too. Local brand, that Moon Pie.
Taking the show.
I recommend looking at their Twitter following if you haven't done it.
Okay, they have a good one.
It's great.
Steak 'em has a good one, too.
Steak 'em and Wendy's. If you ever look at Wendy's is like the most notorious. But
we got to hire like an internet troll to do our social media.
Right now, you serve as the internet troll.
All right.
See ya. Take care.
All right, Donnie, I hope he's had extra time to study. I'll be at a disadvantage here against him.
You're never at the disadvantage.
Maybe his legs have fallen asleep.
You're quick to
here he comes
draw,
now. And it's time for a little expert trivia. Now we have another game. What is this one? Woo! Our market experts to play. Market expert trivia.
Hey, Donnie Gilbert, welcome back to the show.
I'm getting.
Man, a tough act to follow, but you've just been bringing it day in and week in and week out, ready to take on Dooner, who plays a really competitive game of market expert trivia. Is this his proper?
Oh no, we got to move over one thing over here. So that's him.
Okay.
This is me. There we go.
Okay, so you got to be real quick on the draw.
Yeah.
All right, so he's quick too. You got stuff in your way. You might want to.
Is this full contact?
All right. He's got to finish the entire thing.
So today we are unraveling the supply chain.
Oh.
These questions are based. I know.
Things escalated quickly.
And they're based on one of our daily infographics. And today's featured infographic is by Emily Ricks. All right, so for every one of these, FYI, I've only given you 4 options.
All right,
we're not digging deep into E and F.
Okay.
All right, it's just A through D. All right, number 1, challenges in the supply chain are A, lack of transparency, B, lost delayed goods, or C, insufficient planning, or D, all of the above.
It is D.
D, all of the above.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shocker. This is kind of an educational infographic one. A beneficial cargo owner, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this, or a BCO.
A big cat outside.
Takes ownership of goods upon their arrival, serves B as a friend with benefits for the manufacturer, C also stands for best chance operator, or D, none of the above. Yes, Donnie.
D, none of the above.
Incorrect.
It was A, right?
That's correct. Hey. All right. Well, I'm sorry about that, Donnie. Nice try, man. I thought you knew it. I thought you knew this stuff. I thought you knew a BCO.
Well, I know what BCO is.
Oh, okay.
They say it says takes ownership.
Yeah, it takes ownership of goods upon their arrival, according to the infographic, sourced from Bloomberg. Let's see. 3. A logistics service provider, or LSP. A, stores goods at a receiving location. B, delivers goods to a receiving location. C, destroys goods at a receiving location. Or D, all of the above. Yes, Dooner, quick.
D.
D is not correct.
Oh. I didn't even hear the question.
So,
I'll go with A.
No, I'm sorry. What? Guys, it is B, delivers goods to a receiving location.
Yes.
Oh, well. Okay, so it's still 2-0, not over. Okay. 4, a freight forwarder, A, manages and organizes the transportation of goods. B, forwards goods from old addresses to new addresses until the new ones are updated into the system. C, manages domestic cargo only. Or D, none of the above. Yes.
A.
A is correct. Wow, you're damaging the foundation of your microphone there. But
Yes.
I'm glad you're excited.
Marking.
Glad you're excited.
I'm just marking.
B, an equipment provider, playing for pride, an equipment provider, A, creates the product, B, possesses the physical infrastructure needed to transport goods, C, manages and organizes the transportation of goods, or D, all of the above. You can't see the right answer there.
No, I'm trying to read it.
Can you read it again? I wasn't
Really?
paying attention. I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
One
more time.
I'm going to deduct you a
One more
point
time.
for that.
I'm already won.
No, you're down to 2 now because you just lost a point.
Go ahead.
An equipment provider, A, creates the product, B, possesses the physical infrastructure needed to transport goods, C, manages and organizes the transportation of goods, or D, all of the above.
D, all of the above.
No.
Oh.
B.
It is A, creates the product. So,
All right.
All right.
All
So
right,
forget
Donnie,
the
thank you for
bonus.
stopping by.
Wow.
Thanks,
That
man.
went
It was
quick.
good having you. All right, take it
Thanks,
easy.
Donnie. Wow.
Thanks, Donnie.
We got the bonus here.
Thank you, Donnie.
No, it's too. No, forget about it. Forget
Donnie.
about it.
All right, guys, it was fun. I apologize for my loss today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey, no problem. Bring it next time. Bring it next time.
Bring it next time.
Study your infographics.
He knocked our little monitor here. Couldn't even hear myself for a second. All right, here comes Emily. She's going to play a little little deal with us. Get back on the page. Big deal. Ooh. This episode's been a mess.
It's been a while.
All right.
Keeps you on your toes. It does. Live TV. Well, it looks like Dooner gets to go first.
Oh.
Does that mean you won last time, or you lost?
It just means
Yeah.
gentlemen. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, he won.
Oh, okay. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Chad, that was nice of you. Well, according to a recent post on FreightWaves.com, lawsuit abuse is driving up insurance rates for carriers, and some say personal injury attorneys are actually the ones to blame. Is this a big deal or a little deal?
As my friend Cassandra Gaines always says in her Mad
Cassandra.
Gaines segment, it's a big deal because obviously driving up rates there. But one of the dirty tricks they do is they make people go to personal injury attorney hospitals, which are apparently a thing, that don't take regular health insurance.
What?
So it costs like 10 times, 40 times as much just to get like an aspirin. It's like $400 for an aspirin. Even though you got hit on the head with an anvil.
Yeah,
So a big deal?
Yeah, it's a big deal.
it's a big deal industry wide. Absolutely, we are starting to cover it more. It's a huge deal. Margins are already tight, and some serious tort reform needs to happen in the industry.
Donnie was just in here, and he wrote, with the help of others throughout the building, but he was the main person, wrote a nuclear verdict story. So I would go on FreightWaves.com to read that. It was extremely interesting.
Oh.
Yes, so there's that plug. Well, Chad, shipping decarbonization efforts could cost over $1 trillion by the year 2050.
I mean, what's $1 trillion between friends over the next 30 years? It's hard to quantify, right? We're like, it's a big deal that they're trying to get zero carbon emissions. They claim that the shipping industry is responsible for 2.2 of all emissions, and I guess that's a significant amount. I think the average of the cost to the shippers would be 1.4 billion a year, but it's hard to. I'm going to say little deal because I just don't think that it's that much money over the span of 3 decades.
Okay.
I think the only reason it's a big deal is because they're not allocating that money. So that trillion, which is one of those things where it's 1 trillion to 1.4 trillion, but we know anything like that, the cost will be like 3 times as much. So it's probably really 3 trillion, and the money's not really being allocated towards it. So it seems like it's going to take a lot longer than 2050, unfortunately.
Yeah. So the U.S. breaks up a Pakistani nuke smuggling operation. Dooner, is this a big deal or a little deal?
Well, the big deal about it is that a lot of the parts are still out there. The pinball machine that they made the DeLorean out of, they made Doc's time machine, are still loose. I know that was the Libyans and not the Pakistanis, but either way. And the guys are on the loose too, so they broke it up. But the dudes who are now, it's like a Mission Impossible movie. Yeah, they got to go track them down.
Catch me if you can.
Well, the part of the story that I found a little confusing is that, I mean, they all knew that they were selling the parts to the Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission or the Pakistan's Advanced Engineering Research Organization, which are on the entity list, which apparently if you apply to send stuff to there, you assume that your license will be denied being able to do that. So I guess they were given permission to do that, these businesses?
Interesting.
A little unclear to me on that part. And all the purchases of, I think, the 38, they were under $10,000. For those reasons, I'm saying little deal.
All right.
Okay. Well, we have video of this next
like
one.
Shark
So,
Tank.
Harrison, if you could roll this video. It actually came from my old viewing area right outside of Omaha in western Iowa. Chad, truck driver's dash cam records a narrow miss. If you're watching this video, it's crazy. As a pickup slides across the side of a freeway, slamming directly into a stopped truck on Iowa's I-80, nearly missing a person. Is this a big deal or a little deal?
Well, I mean, it's fantastic footage, and it's a big deal to drive safely on those roads. But this is a mere small incident and a near miss. So for those reasons, also little deal. Like when it's big, you got to call it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Little,
First of all, he's wrong. That last answer, he was wrong about that one because on the entry docks, of course, they're going to misdeclare the cost of them. They're not going to be like, oh, this is a $20 million warhead. They're going to be like, yeah, it's like 1,000, so they pay less duties on it. But so let's narrate this for a second. So there's a truck that went flying across the freeway, right? For just the listeners at home who are going by audio. So this was in Iowa, and the guy's on the road, and he goes flying past this truck. He goes across the grass, which has snow all over it, and hits a truck that's on the other side of the road. There's a dude walking by in a beanie.
He literally didn't even notice until the last second this truck's coming out.
And I think a lawnmower went flying out of the back of it and hoses and everything. So, yeah, I mean, it's a big deal because, you know, if you see what the car did, if you're watching the video and go to my Twitter, we did it there. We'll tweet out again. But the car was like, it looks like he was trying to pass this truck on the right side and he just completely lost control. So, yeah, drive safe out there. You almost killed this guy.
No, I will tell you
that's a big deal.
Yeah, I covered winter weather in this area, and people are absolute idiots. Just because you have a four-wheel drive truck does not mean you can go 50 down the freeway. And I have seen so many people, and I will point and I will laugh if they're in a ditch and they passed us like going on the road because people drive like absolute idiots, and that is true. That they think they're invincible because they have four-wheel drive and just trying to pass a truck. So,
well, it'd be a big deal if this segment got people to drive better. That would be a big deal.
I like it. Safer roads because of us. There we go.
Speaking of which.
Well, Chad, an Alaskan dentist convicted of...
Wait, hold on. What about the road rage?
No, it's Dooner's
story.
story.
What about this road rage?
I thought you were saying it was a big deal.
Well, it kind of ties into it. Yeah, so...
Sorry, Dooner, yes. I didn't want to... 82% of drivers in the U.S. admit to having road rage or driving aggressively at least once per year.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge number. It was funny too because in that study it said that 5% like actually try to run people off the road or intentionally hit them with their vehicles. Like that was an accident where that truck flew across the median and across the grass and hit the truck. So intentionally, some people are trying to run you off the road, and that's 5%. If you think about that. Every 100 cars you pass, 5 of those are someone who would be willing to run you off the road.
People shoot people over this. They don't just run people off the road. They kill people. So
a former Jets running back got killed, Joe McKnight. So he got, and I believe it was in the South down here, he got into a traffic altercation with some dude. Never get out of your car in one of these situations. Don't prove your manhood. Back up, lock the windows, because if you get out, and especially in some of these southern states with stand my ground laws, they can cap you.
Absolutely. You know, it's like, maybe I won't share my. I won't share my anecdotal experience with that recently. But
did you tick someone off?
You raged?
A guy raged on me. I raged back.
I would have loved to see you rage it, Chad.
He tailed me for a long time.
Oh, if you drive with him, he rages.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. He kept saying, like, you want to get out? You want to get out?
And were you like,
Come on.
come on, bring it?
You get
Yeah,
out
I know.
first.
Tough in the
then I'll
moment,
get
isn't
out.
it? And then you
Yeah.
think about it afterwards when you cool down.
Right.
But in the moment, you're kind of like, yeah, I do. I've been waiting for an excuse to fight somebody and take everything that's wrong in life out on you with this fist.
Right, and he followed me along.
Oh, uh-oh. And you're like, when you're trying to
And I
shake
was
him.
know
like,
where you
and I was
live.
like, wait a minute.
Yeah, drive home a
Like,
different way.
wait a minute with each turn.
What happened to get into this? Did you
I
cut
was
him off?
trying to merge,
Oh.
and he was.
The zipper merge probably is what.
Hey.
Sometimes
Yeah.
driving's like pulling teeth.
Yeah. Okay. well, this going good one, Dooner.
No,
Going.
wait, on this subject, by the way, I think it is a big deal. It's an
Yeah.
interesting subject and study. And what is crazy,
Succotash, Jeff.
82% of drivers admit for the past year to having driven aggressively.
Yeah.
But like only 59% reported showing anger, 45%, changed lanes without signaling. Only
Yeah.
45%. No,
Yeah, right.
no,
Everyone
no.
in this
Yeah.
city.
Way
says-
more.
Turn signals
Yeah.
don't exist on cars made in Tennessee.
I know.
I'm convinced.
So it's kind of scary that many report the aggressive driving. So
Well, speaking of like pulling teeth, I tried to skip right to this one because it's fascinating and also kind of scary at the same
yeah,
time.
cringy.
Yeah, an Alaskan dentist convicted of unlawful dental acts after he was filmed extracting a tooth while riding on a hoverboard, one of those little electric things you put both your feet on.
Yeah.
In
What
at
a
least
hot dog.
one conversation, this dentist joked that performing oral surgery on a hoverboard was, quote, a new standard of care. That's according to the lawsuit.
Yeah, apparently all the fraud, all the things that he was involved in, he was just he's incriminated himself. So I don't know. He was a cowboy, but little deal. You could pull my teeth on a hoverboard. That's fine.
Oh, okay. What if he slipped? One malfunction and your whole front two teeth are gone.
I think it just pull the one out, right?
Well, you
That
never
is-
know. He could chip some more
What if it's
on
set
the
on
way.
fire? Yeah.
Man, if that happened, it would be a big
If it
deal.
goes on fire, the whole office goes on fire.
The person
Yeah.
didn't even know the difference. She just,
When I was in kindergarten, you know how they'll ask you to like write down the first job you want or like what do you want to be? I wanted to be a dancing dentist.
A dancing.
Yeah, I don't. That's like just 5-year-old mind is like a dancing dentist would make sense, and I think that. So this guy, I didn't live that dream, but he held on to it, and then you give a man boy a hoverboard, and next thing you know, he's trying to extract teeth while riding it. So,
But if that's one, I feel like that's one of the minimal things he's admitting to. What else
Yeah.
was he doing?
oh, women,
Oh.
well, they're on laughing gas because
Yes.
she didn't even know that she was getting like he was on the hoverboard, like rolling back and forth. Who knows what he? I'm not making accusations, but you
This
never
is
know what could happen.
This is a horrific story. Like apparently, a girlfriend and boyfriend, they broke up, but he still went to her for dental surgery, and she pulled out all of his teeth.
Oh, like I said,
What
she pulled out all the stops.
What'd you think was going to happen? Oh,
She
my.
pulled out all of his teeth.
Well, that was a good.
Now,
So is
that's a big
Brandon
deal.
available? Are you saying we should give him a call?
Yes, we should give
All
Brandon
right,
a call.
let's
I told him
try him one more time.
I had called him. We spoke. So he's alive and well.
Okay.
5, count of 5, 5, 2.
Oh, it's been a wild show.
Hi, Brandon. No, he hasn't answered yet. Let's see.
Yeah. No.
Lovely sounds of ringing phones. Hi, Brandon. Hi, this is Dooner, Emily, and Chad with What the Truck. We were calling you to say hi to you.
Hey, guys, how are you?
Well, doing good. Good to have you on.
Yeah, we're talking about a big conference you guys have coming up in Nashville, the Air Cargo Conference 2020. Hopefully it will be pretty good weather, looking like things will be mild compared to the rest of the country. What should people expect? And a big question, are tickets still available?
Well, I guess the first question out of the way, yes, tickets are still available. You can register at aircargoconference.com, and there are plenty of hotel rooms in the area available. So we are so jazzed because we are exceeding our farthest expectations. We've never had this many people
Wow.
registered. Yeah, so we're real jazzed about that. You know, this is the conference for the rest of us.
Yeah.
I think that's what attracts people. It's great networking, it's learning, you know, all the stuff you need to make your business more successful.
Who are some of the people that are going to be there?
Well, let's say, as an example, Air Canada starts off sponsoring our women's networking event on Sunday. They're going to be giving away 2 free round-trip tickets. They're going to be awarding those to whoever's
Wow.
in the room. So you've got that.
Oh, they give
and
away
then
tickets a
on
lot of these
Sunday-
things. Jump in the raffle, Emily.
Oh,
yeah.
hey, okay.
Yeah, definitely. You bring lots of business cards.
Okay, I will.
Put them in the fishbowl.
Right. And then on Sunday night, our opening gala starts with that's sponsored by Forward Air, and so you've got a lot of trucking people, airlines, freight forwarders, software vendors, you name it. Everyone's there. We have an exhibit hall that's got, I think, close to 100 booths, and they've all been sold out for the better part of 2 months now. So that's really cool. We have 20% more sponsors
Wow.
than we've ever had. And we've been running this show for, I don't know, close to, 15, 20 years or so. And plus, we have you guys coming.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's right.
Yeah, we're going to be
Right, so-
streaming from the floor, right?
We'll be there. Craig will be keynoting on Tuesday. I'm excited about Monday's keynote, too. Obviously, I hear Craig talk all the time, and I learn something new every time, but it's not every day you get to hear somebody from NASA talk about
Oh, yeah.
logistics. That's exciting.
The next
Yes,
frontier.
we've got this guy. We got this guy on Monday morning. His name is Mark Weiss. He's the NASA Commercial Supply Chain Head and Mars Logistics Coordinator, whatever that means, from the Kennedy Space Center.
We're going to find out whatever that means.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to find out. And then that's our Monday morning keynote speech. And then Tuesday, we've got this guy called Craig Fuller coming.
I know him.
And
I'm
we're-
excited for that.
Yeah, and we're really excited not only to hear Craig about and his vision of freight in the future and how he sees the industry right now, but to learn more about FreightWaves. So we're real excited about that.
Brandon, how do people go and get tickets for the last few remaining ones out there? The stragglers who can't avoid the locale.
www.aircargoconference.com. Real easy.
Easy to remember.
Any last
Easy to
words?
remember. Well, just lots of hotel rooms available. Come. We want to see you there. You're going to have a great time. You're going to learn a lot, and you're going to have great food, too.
Yeah, Music
Well,
City.
great. We can't wait.
Prepare for takeoff.
Yep.
Thank
Thanks,
you very
Brandon.
much, Brandon.
Thanks,
We appreciate it.
Brandon.
Thanks for dialing in, or us dialing out to you. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. See you in Nashville.
Yeah, we'll see you there.
See ya.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so next Monday, this whole thing, What the Truck, will be live from Nashville.
Woo! We're going to be live from Nashville, and hopefully,
wait.
even though we'll be on the road, it'll be a little the bolts will be a little tighter than we were today. Hey, it's a holiday show. You know, a lot of people don't even air things today.
No,
a lot
not
of
at
people
all.
didn't come on. We decided to come in and bring it to you
Yeah.
and do our best. After this show, there's still a whole bunch of stuff left on the live stream, right?
Yes, and Nick Austin is cool. He's on here sometimes. He's our meteorologist here. He's
Ooh.
doing a weather update in the morning and the afternoon. So around 4 o'clock, there's a lot of winter weather going on in the Midwest right now. So a lot of drivers will
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
want to tune in for that. So
And Chattanooga too. It's like freezing here. It's like 32
Oh.
degrees. All it does is rain. Like in the winter in
just
Chattanooga is
rains.
It got down to
raining.
15 overnight.
And then when it's not
least on the mountain.
raining, it's just cold.
Yeah.
It's freezing.
it's okay though, better than snow.
And Nick's on at 4:30.
4:30, my fault, guys.
Then 2 p.m. So 2 p.m. tomorrow, you're going to have Great Quarter, guys.
Yes.
2 p.m. the next day. Wednesday, you'll have Freightonomics. 3:15 Thursday,
Port
you are
Report.
going to have Port Report. Then I
Brand
think
new show, Freight Forecasting with Michael Vincent on Thursday. So
Oh.
that will be a good one. You'll want to tune in. First time,
Yeah.
4 o'clock this Thursday.
And then What the Truck will be right back at you Friday at 1 o'clock, coming to you live. Thank you for tuning in today, bearing with us and watching this wonderful show that Chad and I like to call What the Truck. Look cowbell for that new rack rate forecaster in
God.
SONAR. What the hell is that? Find out on your free demo. You're going to be able to use it until Valentine's Day. That's a little chocolate in your stocking. Right? That's a good one.
right.
That's a nice gift for Valentine's Day.
It is a nice gift for Valentine, always coinciding with the holidays, right?
Shout
Look,
out to
cowbell.
all the fleet managers
Yeah.
who are going to be using it.
We're going to be saving at least 3%, somewhere around there.
With
Results may
90%
vary.
accuracy.
Love you guys. Take it easy.